Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, and congratulations on another win at Darlington and winning in the playoffs. So can you just walk us through your run and what it feels like to get that first win heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, well, it was a battle. It wasn't necessarily pretty, but everybody on our Busch Beer Ford Mustang team did a great job tonight, keeping us in the race. Rodney had great strategy. Our car was extremely loose all night, and we were able to manage to get it better, but never really got it going as good as we'd like to. But they battled, and we kept ourselves in the right spot. The leaders got tangled up, and we were in position to capitalize on that. So definitely weren't the fastest car, but definitely put ourselves in a position to capitalize on a moment.
Awesome. Well, we are going to take some questions here from the media. As a reminder, click that participants tab and raise your hand if you have a question for Kevin. And we're going to get to questions. We're going to kick things off with Jeff Glow. Go ahead, Jeff.
So Kevin, what did you see there? I mean, I know you were about 4 seconds behind. Did Fedua come over and be like, hey, the leaders just got into it, or how'd that come on your radar?
Yeah, I didn't see anything. Timmy came on the radio and told me that the leaders had just wrecked. And at that particular point, that the whole game changes just because of the fact that, obviously I knew we were running third. So at that point it was managing, what I had behind me and trying to make sure that I didn't make any big mistakes to give up big chunks of time. So, as we went through the next couple laps, obviously I could see the 9 and 19 getting progressively closer to me as we were making laps, and the 19 pitted there, and when I passed the 9, I saw that he was all tore up. So it was definitely a strange cycle of laps there over those 4 or 5 laps.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next question from Bob Pockers. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Kevin, you've talked in the past about how experience matters. Looks like again today, the veteran guys, you win. I'm curious though, what do you see in Chase Elliott, and do you think he, of all the young guys, has maybe the best shot to get into the Final Four?
Well, I think this lines up well for Chase when you look at the racetracks. Obviously, they run well here. He's a very good road course racer. He runs well at Bristol. So, I think when you look at the way that the racetracks line out, if they can capitalize on their strengths, they have a good opportunity to do what they need to do. Runs well at Martinsville too. So, I think as you look at those things, I think if now you just have to try to capitalize on your strengths and go from there. So it's definitely a handful of races that line up good for him.
And how much do you feel with this first round, including Darlington and Bristol, that it seems like to me that maybe pit strategy and crew chief decisions play a little bit bigger role this round than maybe in past first rounds?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that my crew chief tonight basically kept us in position to win this race. We didn't have the race car that we needed, but that strategy that they kept employing, got us track position and was going to be the winning strategy if the caution doesn't come out at the end, with myself or the 9, there at the end. So, the strategy and making the right calls was 100% what kept us in this race tonight. So I think you nailed that one, Bob, just because of the fact that, there's a lot of different ways you can line this race up, and the same thing will happen next week. You have a pretty heavy tire wear at Richmond. In Bristol, there's always some strategy that comes into play. So yeah, that's a very good point.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll take our next question from Jim Utter. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Kevin, congratulations. When you won the first race back when we restarted here in May, you seemed very struck when you got out of the car about the silence. There was nobody here other than the participants. I just wondered, it's not back to normal, but how striking of a difference was it tonight compared to when you won here in May?
Oh, it was way better, Jim. It was, it was to get out of that race car and have all that emotion and finally have somebody to share it with and, get a reaction that comes with your excitement from the fans and You know, to have that enthusiasm that goes hand in hand with the things that you say and the things that you do and the reactions that you get. It felt really good. That's the first race that I've won this year that anybody's been here. But, you know, I think back, you know, to the first race here, and, you know, for me, that was really the moment that put it all into perspective of where we were and what we were doing, and the you know, how drastic of a situation it was when, you know, you have all that enthusiasm to share with nobody and just dead silence. So it felt really, really good to have some cheering fans in the grandstands and be able to experience that again.
Back in May, did you think we would ever get to this point where we would be all caught up on the schedule, starting the playoffs, and actually start having fans back at races?
You know, I think back in May, I probably thought that, but as we went through, you know, so many different situations of things happening, and, you know, you see all the things in the world that are happening, and just the way that so many things were changing so rapidly. You know, as we got those last 5 or 6 races announced, you didn't really know if you were actually going to get to go to some of those racetracks. And then you see Watkins Glen pulled, and then we go to Daytona. So, you know, I think it says a lot about the plan that we actually have, as NASCAR has done a great job in navigating everything and having backup plans. And you know, I don't think it's over yet either. I think there's still some things to navigate, it sounds like, as we go forward. So it's just, you know, you just kind of roll with the punches. And honestly, I just quit paying attention because it'll wear you out. But, you know, everybody's done a great job to get us back on schedule and had a great plan. And it's pretty unbelievable to see where we are today.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will come from Jordan Bianchi. Go ahead, Jordan.
Kevin, you know, with your points total and everything, you were pretty much assured of going on to the second round. Or, you know, you'd have to have a catastrophic 3 races in a row for that not to happen. But you are officially going forward now. Does this change your outlook, your strategy, even in the slightest?
Well, you know, we had that, you know, we knew we had done a great job in the regular season and had built a buffer. And I think that, you know, just like you saw Rodney call this race tonight, you know, I think, you know, there were several moments where we could have been a lap down, and he called this race to win. And I think he knows the importance of winning races. He also knows the importance of that cushion that's sitting there. But, you know, the best way up is to have that cushion get bigger. And tonight we were able to do that. And as you go into the next round, that cushion is going to be bigger than it was when we got here today. So, you know, that's just, you know, that's the great spot that we're in, that we can continue to be aggressive and make aggressive calls and do aggressive things to try to win. Tonight we were fortunate to be in the right spot, but we were fortunate that we were in the right spot because of great pit calls and all the things that were happening, you know, on the pit box and in the pit stall.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next question from Stephen Conley. Go ahead, Stephen.
Kevin, we saw there at the end of the race that a young fan tried to hand you the checkered flag, and you told him to keep it. What does that mean to you personally, to be able to bring something like that to the fans, especially young fans, knowing that you can't have Keelan at the racetrack?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a little biased towards the kids. So, you know, seeing that young man standing up there with his 4 hat on and holding that flag, there was no way I was getting out of my car and taking that flag. Hopefully that's something that he can remember and remember going forward as he, you know, tells his friends and his family, and hopefully everybody remembers that and comes back again. So that's what it's all about, right? You know, making sure that people have a great time, and, you know, we're back with fans at the racetrack, and to see those kids back in the grandstands is a lot of fun.
And talking about the kids, has Keelan given you any harder of a time about not having a cardboard cutout in the car for your wins?
That's only a Michigan thing. We have definitely declared Michigan as the only spot that he can ride. So that would be a lot of work to do that more than one spot.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next question from Davey Siegel. Go ahead, Davey.
Hey, Kevin. In your 17 starts at RCR, you finished inside the top 5 3 times at Darlington, and you've only finished outside the top 5 once since joining SHR. Would you point to Rodney in terms of that improvement, or would it be an overall change of mindset or skill set at Darlington for you?
I think as you go back in time and you look at that, beginning of the relationship that we had at SHR with myself and Rodney, they put a lot of emphasis on Darlington and Dover and Pocono and some of those places that didn't have a glaring good record from what I had previously done. But this was definitely one of the places that we spent a lot of time looking through, Jimmy Johnson and the Hendrick Motorsports stuff when we had that relationship to start with, and did a lot of things, on our own that Rodney thought were right with the car, and kind of put that at the racetrack. And it's been, a lot of fun to drive those race cars ever since I've been at Stewart-Haas Racing. So, he loves coming to Darlington. He loves going to Bristol. And to win those races, I know all the guys on the team put a lot of effort into this particular race. So to come here and achieve that is something that I know that they put a lot of pride into.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our next question from Mark Garrow.
Thank you. Congratulations, Kevin. You're on the verge of a 10-win season. How big of a deal would it be to have double-digit wins with this kind of competition?
Yeah, I try not to look and think about things like that, just because I don't want the karma train to hit me in the back and flatten me. But I think right now we just we just have to keep doing what we're doing. Tonight was not a night that we felt like we had a winning car, but we were in position to capitalize on the situation and win the race. But however we have to do it, if it winds up being 8, or if it winds up being more than 8, it's been a great year, and we're gonna battle week in and week out over these next 9 weeks, and hopefully put ourselves in position to have a chance when we get to Phoenix.
You break this tie with Kyle Busch, so you go single digits on the all-time list. I look at it, I go, that's pretty cool. I was there for your first win. Now I'm watching a guy go single digits.
We're getting old.
Yeah, man. But how do you look at that?
Yeah, I look at that list and I laugh, just because, I think back to all the crazy situations and all the things that we've been a part of throughout the years, and just the highs and the lows. And look, I've been fortunate to be around a lot of great people and sit in great race cars. And these last 7 years have just been unbelievable at Stewart-Haas Racing, and Rodney and the whole company. Is just, they put a ton of effort into trying to make sure that we go to the racetrack and have a chance to win. So it's from a driver's standpoint, it's a driver's dream to have, Tony and Gene, and all they want to do is race and win. And, to be able to, to have those assets and have the resources that we have with Ford. And, so much has changed since, I started at Stewart-Haas Racing. Tony, we switched manufacturers, and just, there's been a lot of change. So, but in the end, it's all to try to win races, and just, it's just fun to be able to share that with a group of people that care so much about myself and the things that we do with this car and that company. And, everybody's pulling the rope in the same direction. And when that's happening, when you have great people, it just continues to get better.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take our next one from Jacob Seelman. Go ahead, Jake.
Thanks, Marissa. Kevin, 2 quick questions for you. First, you mentioned earlier that Rodney basically kept you guys in this one all night. I think back to one of it might have been the first pit stop, but one of the very early pit stops where you guys had a long stop, but he called for a left front wheel packer at that point, and it was right when you guys weren't looking too good. Was that the start of the turnaround? Because it seemed like after that you got a little track position. That change seemed to be the one that really kind of sparked the start of your night.
The car definitely responded to that. It hadn't really responded to much that we had done before that. So they definitely had to take a little bit of time on the pit stop to make that change. But it definitely put us closer to where we needed to be. We still never got to where we needed to be, but definitely put us in the ballpark.
And to follow up from Jim's question earlier on the fans, I know this is the Southern 500. It comes, without necessarily needing extra motivation. But for you, having won here in May with no fans, was there maybe a little extra motivation for you having the fans in the stands and really wanting to have that celebration the right way this time?
Probably not the answer you want to hear, but no. I think as you look at the the race itself and the start of the playoffs and everything that was starting today, that was pretty motivating. But I can tell you that it was very rewarding getting out of the car and being able to share those that emotion and that excitement with the fans and to see them back in the grandstand. So it just changes the whole atmosphere when the fans are here. So I was excited to see everybody in the grandstands and definitely fed off that enthusiasm and excitement.
That's fair enough. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and our next question will come from Jeff Magliochetti. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hi, Kevin. Congratulations on another win. The final laps, you were fighting against Austin Dillon for the win, and he's in a situation you've been in before, taking over an iconic ride over at Richard Childress Racing. What have you seen from him this season, and how impressed have you been with his development over the years?
Yeah, I think for me at the end, it was just trying to manage that gap and do everything that I could to make sure that I didn't miss my marks in turn 3. I probably gave up a little bit more time than I needed to on the last lap, but I think it's those guys are obviously doing good, and hopefully they can keep it going.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, and we'll take our next one from Stephen Toronto. Go ahead, Stephen.
Kevin, given that this is the first time you've won Darlington on Throwback Weekend, I just wanted to ask you about your Busch Series tribute and the creative process that came. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. The creative process that led to having that be your throwback theme. What was the creative process like, and how did you guys come to the decision to honor the legacy of the Busch Series and your 2 championships there?
Yeah, I didn't have anything to do with it. So the one thing that I can tell you is everybody from Busch Beer does a great job. There's no other sponsor in the sport that activates and puts more thought and effort into every single race that they run. Every market has activation in it, and in the end, we're selling beer. That's what we're here to do is to increase beer sales. And the specials paint scheme is something that goes right into the race weekend, and everybody at Darlington Raceway does a great job in creating this atmosphere that really lets us pay tribute to a lot of different things. So the Busch Series back in the day was obviously something that got me started, and to see that brand style throwback, I guess for me brought back a lot of great memories. So to see and remember the 01 championship and the 06 championship, and hear some of the footage and some of the things that they sent along with the car was a lot of fun to go back and watch. So Busch always does a great job, and everybody else should be taking notes from a sponsor standpoint, because this is how you're supposed to do it.
And just one more follow-up on that. Anthony Alfredo in the Xfinity Series race yesterday actually ran the old Coast Guard car. Did you take note of that, and what were your thoughts on seeing that?
I was aware of that. Yeah, they did a great job with that particular scheme, and we won a lot of races in that car. That was that 06 year when we had the Coast Guard sponsorship and everything was rolling. It was quite a year. So brought back a lot of great memories.
Sounds good. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, and we're going to take 2 more questions here for Kevin. We'll take our first one from Marty with ROC Sports Network. Go ahead, Marty.
Actually, Marissa, Steven actually took my question, so I'm good. Thank you. But Kevin, congrats on the win. That's a great throwback scheme.
Thank you.
All righty, and then we will wrap things up with Tucker White. Go ahead, Tucker.
All right. Kevin, I've had the privilege of watching your entire Cup Series career, both as a race fan and now as a member of the media. So I've seen you go from the rookie who replaced Dale Earnhardt and beat Jeff Gordon coming to at a photo finish in Atlanta to joining both those drivers on NASCAR's God tier of all-time drivers. Now, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm the only one who's ever told you this, but what does it mean to you when people, tell you that, or something along those lines?
Yeah, well, it's when you start looking around the win list and you start seeing the names that you're around, you start thinking to yourself, man, these are some of the greatest drivers that ever came through our sport. So there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. You got to do your part, and hopefully hopefully we can, you know, keep doing what we're doing on the racetrack and keep climbing up there. And there's not much to climb over the next 18 or 19 wins, 20 wins, whatever it is. It's just a big gap. So long ways to the next one.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Kevin. Well, that's all we've got for you. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you at Richmond.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.